So is it alright if I ask your name?
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to Brutal Truth, where we take on the hard topics, any topic really, but try to have good discussions where we give our own opinions, but also try to understand all sides of the topic. Today is episode 3. Episode 3. I know for those of you that probably are watching this live, you saw a thing popped up said episode 2. I'm actually kind of leaving it as episode 2, even though it's episode 3, because we weren't able to post episode 2 anywhere.
R.I.P. episode
2. Because someone's microphone decided
yeah, Nat, what the heck?
To crap out.
Totally wasn't mine.
Rosie. But anyways, so at least we are working now. That's all that matters, right? That's what matters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's go with that. So thank you for everyone who is choosing to be here and listen or watch. Today we have a amazingly special guest, a good friend of mine from I almost said TikTok. Guys, I've been so focused on TikTok lately. It's so bad.
Yeah, you're posting like 5 a day. It's amazing.
But that's because everyone's talking to me. But anyways, let's get this intro first. We have a wonderful special guest. Her name is Kelaska. I know her from Twitch Sings. She is an absolutely amazing musician. If you haven't heard her, you need to. If you do ! Kelaska, it will give you a link tree to all of her stuff, her socials, her new song, which she just came out with a new song. I have been paying attention. If I wasn't I wasn't so busy with other things, I would have been like, send me a copy of your song so I can play it. But maybe we'll still get to do that. Who knows? But anyways, the point being, we have an amazingly special guest here, and we're gonna talk about music, what it's like being a musician, being in the music industry. We actually have 2 people that are big into music. Kelaska is a musician, and Rosie is a Broadway actress. So she's into singing in the Broadway, and another person sing. And I'm just gonna stand here or sit here and let you guys talk. Probably that's gonna be mostly what I do if I were guessing. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes from here. But anyways, so thank you for joining us, Kelaska. This is awesome. I'm so looking forward to it.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
This is where people are going to see some things. I need to turn you up a little bit. We're going to go. Okay. There you go. Better. Oh. Now we can hear. So
thank you for having me.
It was absolutely our pleasure. So first thing I want to ask, because again, we talked about your song. What is the name of the new song that you just released?
The new one is called Autopilot.
Autopilot. What is Autopilot about?
So it's kind of about that mood when you kind of get into a depression and everything just becomes a cycle and you can't get out of it. So you are just living day to day, and you know that you should be feeling differently. Maybe you have things in your life that are happy, but you just can't get out of that rut you're in, and you're basically cruising through life trying to get out of this depression, but you can't. You're stuck in it.
Okay. I think we have a few people probably that understand what that's like.
It's a tough place.
I know. I'm sure as most of you probably did. I dealt with that big time during COVID. It was like COVID was like a just get up and keep hoping you can make it to the next day, you know?
Yeah, for real.
It was so different because all of a sudden just all of your outside source of friends and even extended family, or maybe even your intermediate family, you couldn't really talk or see any of them, which is something I feel like we all as a whole have not dealt with before. So it was crazy.
Or even a step farther, the people you were living with, you saw so much that you felt almost felt it the exact same way, because there was never the escape.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was
No,
sorry.
you go. No, you go. Go.
I was just gonna say it was almost a little bittersweet too, because at least personally for me, right when the pandemic was happening, I was actually going to quit my job and start doing music full time. And then it just so happened the week that was my last week, that's when everything shut down. And at
Wow.
first, I remember thinking, I mean, obviously not the crazy awfulness of it, but I was like, wow, it'll be nice to like have a week break. Like then we'll get back. I'm like, so how naive.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. 2 weeks turns into 2 years.
Yes.
How much farther after you decided to go full-time music did you start Twitch Sings? Because I feel like it wasn't that much longer, was it?
Actually started Twitch Sings before then.
You did.
I started Twitch Sings in January 2020, and then I'm pretty sure everything shut down in March.
Yeah, like
that sounds about right.
April, beginning of April is when really things started shutting down. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you have the ability to say this, but I feel like we had this conversation. Twitch contacted you to start Twitch Sings, didn't they?
I know, yeah. I don't think that I could get in trouble for that, but yeah, it's funny because I set up a Twitch account maybe 4 years before 2020. And I always had the intention, yeah, I'm going to stream, it's going to be great, but I never got to it. And then they messaged me, I think it was December 2019, and said, hey, we're starting this new thing, Twitch Sings. We'd love for you to try it out. We'll, pay you to do a certain number of hours per week and for a couple months. And I was like, this is great. This is my opportunity to have some.
That's amazing.
And you weren't the only one. There was quite a few people that were brought in, and they found you because you were getting pretty big on YouTube, right? That was really where you were pushing stuff at that moment.
YouTube and Instagram mostly.
Okay.
I was trying everywhere, but those were the places that were kind of sticking.
Yeah. I remember when I first saw you, and that was the crazy thing. Like I love Twitch Sings. I loved Twitch Sings. I still love Twitch Sings. And they did this, which was a great idea. They got all these people that were musicians, well known. They brought in, I can't even remember his name now, a guy who sang in American Idol. They brought in a guy they brought in a woman who was in one of the other music competition things. I don't even remember which one. But they didn't, I think it might have been, yeah. But they didn't teach any of you what streaming was all about.
Oh no.
So Kelaska and all of these other people came in, and they just, and no offense, but
no, yeah.
I had conversation with Kelaska, and she know, I mean, she's okay with it because I literally had a Discord conversation with her after she'd been going for a couple weeks or something like that, and I was like, do you want to sit here and talk about what streaming is all about? Because she had no idea, but none of them did. They came on and they just started doing their own thing, and they never paid attention to chat, and they never sang with people in Twitch Sings. I mean, Kelaska did. You were okay with it, but there were some that just almost ignored chat altogether. They just went on and sang and were singing solos. They weren't even singing duets with people, and it was
because they didn't know.
And I was like, I actually messaged the guy who was running Twitch Sings, and it was too late because it was obvious they were going downhill, but I actually messaged him, and I was like, you need to partner these people that you are paying to be on with a streamer, someone who knows how to stream, so they can say, whether it's just meeting with them offline or doing a party or doing something, because they lost so much like hype because the people came on and did not engage. And the whole point, Twitch Sings' big thing was engagement. And so much engagement
so
was
helpful.
lost.
Oh, I'm sure. I can't imagine just getting thrown into streaming.
Well, and that's why when I heard, if you haven't heard Kelaska sing, follow her. Her voice
Thank
is
you.
so friggin' amazing. And it was one of those things where she did a duet. I don't know if you did a duet with me or I found one of your duets. I don't know which it was, but I heard it and I was just like, and this is when Twitch Sings would like it's one of those things where anytime I found someone that was good, I would go, the first thing I would do is like look and see if they were actually streaming. And then if they were, I would go onto their stream and be like, "You're awesome," which is pretty much what I did. I practically fangirled on Kelaska on the first time. And she's got like, there are some people that, you know, they have very light voices. You have this like power behind your voice. You don't even look like you're gonna sing. I only know one other person, actually two other people. Rosie's like that too, but like there are very few people that you see them like, I look like I'm blaring. Like I have a loud voice.
You don't.
I have a loud voice and it's fine. I accept it. I have a loud voice, but I will close my eyes. I will put my head up and I will just open up everything and just let it out. Where you just like you're barely open your mouth and somehow you're like blasting everybody out of the water. And it's so cool.
I used to get on YouTube like complaints about not opening my mouth enough by people probably who've never sang a note in their life.
Exactly. That's
But
where
yeah,
those come from.
which like I mean it is true, like, but I've never taken any singing lessons, so I'm like, I don't know, like I'm just throwing a video up here for you guys.
Yeah.
You're just like
Yeah.
trying to teach me how to sing, and I'm like, you're not gonna win this battle today. I'm not gonna learn this.
It's not gonna happen.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Just accept it.
And it works for you.
It was
Yeah.
and you know, I'm obviously super happy that we did get to run into each other because, like I said, your voice is awesome. We've had some awesome duets together that I will always remember. Like
I know.
Alanis Morissette and all those, like your Alanis Morissette was just killer. Always.
Thank you.
Always.
That's such a compliment. I love her.
What was your favorite song to sing on Twitch Sings?
Me or
Yeah.
Maddie?
Both of you. Why not?
That's a good question. If I'm being completely honest, I think, like you were saying, when I first started, I had no idea how to tackle all of it, and it's a lot. Even now, I've been streaming now for 2 years, and my audio is messed up sometimes, my video is messed up. Like, I can't get it down. It's just not my strong suit. And so when all of that was being thrown at me, plus like how to work the game and everything else, I feel like it took a lot of the fun away for me for singing. And also with that game, a lot of it was like pitch matching, right? So if I'm sure you guys know, if you try to make it your own, it would like go off and stuff.
Mhm.
And I'm a perfectionist, like awfully. And so in the beginning too with Twitch Sings, that was very hard for me because I'd be like, oh my God, I'm just like, I'm not doing so great.
Yeah.
And like, I would focus on that. And so I don't even know that there were too many songs that I loved to sing on there because I was just too hard on myself. Like there's none that stand out. But I feel like now I've lost some of the perfectionism. So now if I had it, I'd probably be able to have a little more fun and take it less
absolutely.
seriously.
It was the same for me when I started. So I started probably 2 months before you did. Which is funny because by the time you came on, it seemed like everybody knew me, but I literally only started at the beginning of November. Like that was the
really?
first November. I don't even remember the date off the top of my head. It was like the weekend or two after TwitchCon. And I made this deal with my chat that I was like, if I hit this certain goal, I'll do it. They've been wanting me to sing. And I was like, fine, I'll do Twitch Sings if you do it. And I did it. And I did it for like 10 hours. And I pretty much stopped doing every other thing that I did and only did Twitch Sings after I did that. But all of the sudden,
you seem like a pro.
I seriously, I went from 700 followers to almost 3,000 followers by the time almost.
Wow.
I went to like
That's
2,000
super
probably
fast.
by that time. And then I jumped up another like 1,000 or something when I was featured on the front on the shelf in Twitch Sings.
Awesome.
So, but yeah,
That makes sense to me because I also felt like when Twitch Sings was a thing that I was growing a little bit faster before they took it away. And I think it was because it was so niche. Like there was, a good group of people, but it
yeah.
wasn't
Well, they made it
oversaturated.
really, and I actually had a conversation with the guy who ran Twitch Sings. They actually on purpose they made it easy for you to get followers. I mean, that's why in Twitch Sings there
Yeah.
was just they
There's
had a
follow
follow button right there
Yeah.
for you. You didn't even have to work for it. So, I mean, which also killed a lot of us Twitch Sings streamers when Twitch Sings
Yeah.
went away, because those people, there was a lot of people that went on Twitch, but they did Twitch Sings, and when Twitch Sings
Never
went away,
gone.
they never touched anything. So
Mhm.
like,
Right.
and there was an issue going on where if they followed you on Twitch Sings but they never went on Twitch to watch you, it would actually dump the follow. So a lot of people
Oh.
lost, like I lost like hundreds of followers after Twitch Sings went
wow.
away, because those people, there were so many people that just never went on my stream at all because they only did duets with me.
Yeah.
And they hit follow thinking that it would mean something, but it didn't actually mean anything on Twitch Sings, but it meant something on Twitch.
Yes.
I forgot about that there was like a separate kind of follow on there.
Yeah.
It's very vague in my memory.
Yeah.
It's in the recess of your brain.
Yeah, I can like picture it.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
some people though like had really cool, like when it would go to them singing, it would be like they'd be on like an MTV video screen or
Yes.
something. Like some people really went all out. I remember thinking like, I don't know if I could ever do that. Like if I'll ever, that seems so intense. Like in the
Again,
best
it's when you
way.
get, if you look at my first Twitch Sing streams compared to the ones that I was doing in like January, February, April, like around when I went full time, it's like I'm a different person. Like the way I did the songs, the way I did the streams, it was all so different. Like it was like night and day. Like all of a sudden, that's when I started doing weird things like 3-star challenges. Like I got so good at singing with those that like I would challenge myself and with other people. Like literally I would get on with like, it would be like you could even be 3 of us and we'd do a party and we'd sing a song, and if I didn't 3-star it, I'd have to work out. And every time I failed, my workout would get harder and harder and harder. And it would be that way with all of us. It was so good. It was it was so much fun.
I wish they would bring it back.
They
I
still
do
might.
too.
They still might.
Do.
Really?
Yeah,
'Cause
so
I
when on
feel
my
like-
last stream as a full-time streamer, Rashter, the guy who ran Twitch Sings at the time, came on, and he actually said that while there's no like information and it's not like imminent, he would not be surprised if Twitch Sings came back at some point.
Yeah.
That would be
They've just got
amazing.
things
It's
they've got to
such an
work
amazing
out,
community.
and it's pretty
Yeah.
much just,
Yeah.
my guess is it's just licensing and how
Yes.
they've got to figure out a way to make money,
Mhm.
because
Right.
they probably weren't by the end. I
Yeah.
mean, they
Oh,
added so
yeah.
many songs that they just probably weren't making money by the end.
It'd be cool though.
It would be so
It
cool.
would be so cool.
Dream On was my favorite. It has to be. Dream On and River. Those are the two. Those are the ones I
River,
became
you were
known
known for Dream
for.
On.
River and Dream On. It was like
Mm-hmm.
everyone. If I didn't have to sing Dream On and River at least 3 times in every stream, it was a bad stream, because that means there was nobody watching.
Those are great songs though. Like if you have to sing, maybe you guys like can relate to this. Sometimes there are songs that people request in streams that I hate singing, but I'll be like, well, they want to hear them, so I'm gonna do them. But every time I'm like, oh no, I
Like,
get
why did
so.
you
I
like
hated the
that?
one. You know, the ones I hated were the ones that were female lead songs.
I can
I
see
loved
that.
the songs, but they were all in female keys.
Yes.
So I
Yeah,
either had to be
100%.
like, "Whoa," or I was like, "Ah," and it sounded horrible. But everyone
wish-
loved watching me suffer, so who cared?
Oh my God.
I wish they let you transpose the key.
That
but
would've
I don't
been
think
nice.
they ever
Oh,
got that far.
yes.
Maybe if they
Yeah.
bring it back,
Maybe.
that would be
That would be,
so
like, a great thing.
helpful.
Mhm.
That would take because technically all of those songs were actually Twitch so when Twitch Sings got the rights to the songs, they had a band that would record like the backtrack. So they'd either need a system, like some sort of
Yeah.
software that could actually change the
Yes.
keys
Transpose
for
it.
them, or they would have to do multiple keys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I
Which-
was growing up, I had a karaoke machine, and I remember it had like a little transpose button.
Yes.
And what was really trippy though is like obviously you'd transpose it at once the song started, but when it first starts, it's in the original key.
Yeah.
So then you'd like hit one down, and all of a sudden it would be like it
Yeah.
would seem so off,
Mhm.
and you'd be like, this isn't right. But then a minute would kick in, and you'd go, okay, like that.
This
this
is
this
right.
is cool. This is
Some
right.
Yeah.
electric pianos have those now. So I don't know. They could
Yes.
implement
They
it.
could. They could.
Hopefully.
Okay.
We'll see.
So I want to learn. I've known you for over 2 years, and I feel like there's actually not as much that I know about you other than you're an amazing musician. How did
Thank
you
you.
get into music in the first place? Like, obviously at one point you were working and doing music. Did being a musician, was that something you always wanted to do?
Yeah, even like when I go through all of my pictures and things, notes from elementary school, I always wrote that I wanted to be a singer. And then when I was in middle school, like I was so certain. I was like, like my MySpace handle was gonna be famous, which is so cringe
That's
now.
amazing.
MySpace, people, here we are.
We are old.
Here we are. Who remembers
But-
MySpace and had a MySpace
oh my
page,
God.
I
baby?
loved MySpace. It was my
And put
I
out-
loved it.
Had your 5 friends, your 5 special friends
Yes.
that were in your favorited section.
Oh yeah, and then there'd be fights like if you moved like your top around. and
Yes.
Oh, heads would roll.
Yes. I'd spend like hours and hours and hours doing like HTML codes to make my site like different colors
Uh-huh.
and
Oh
this
my
and that. And it's like nobody cared.
MySpace.
Or the songs, that was the best part, was picking out
was.
your song.
Yes. Oh,
But-
I miss that.
Me too. But so in in middle school, that's when I was like, that's when we got the karaoke machine. I was like, okay, like all my friends would come over and I'd make them do karaoke for like 10 hours. None of them were musicians at all. And they'd be like, we're done. And I'd be like, no, we have to sing even more. And, but yeah, I was just obsessed with it. And then I didn't really when I got to high school, it kind of reality set in. I was like, I'm from a small town. I probably, I'm not going to really go anywhere. The internet wasn't as huge then.
Mm.
So, and I love living in my town too. So I wasn't about to move to California or do that sort of route.
Yeah.
And I kind of let it die. I was like, I guess life isn't for me. I don't even know what I'll do, but I'll figure it out. And then maybe around 2015-ish, me and my best friend were always saying we were going to start YouTube channels, and we never did. And then one night on a whim, I was like, you know what? I'm going to just throw up a cover. And I did. And then again, like OCD got addicted, and I just threw up a cover every single week for about 6 years. I could not stop.
Wow.
And then, yeah, it kind of snowballed from there. to
Were
just
they
turning
different
into-
songs every week?
Yes, and it was the
Wow.
worst. It was probably like I was probably the most stressed in my life I've ever been. It was so. And
I
get
can't
this,
even imagine
Get
that many
this.
weeks.
Me neither.
That's
Get this.
hold on. That's over
I-
300 different songs that you covered.
Yeah, it was a lot. And I am so stupid. I would not learn the song throughout the week. I would learn the song at midnight, the night
Oh
before.
my God.
And so, like, let's say I think for a while, like, I would record on Thursdays because I was off from my job. And so Wednesday night, I'd be like, okay, I'll pick this song, and I'd listen to it over and over and over and over and over again. And then I'd wake up Thursday morning at like 7 a.m. without learning the song at all, and I'd look at the chords and I would sing it for like, I'm not exaggerating, 8 to 9 hours, because again, perfectionism.
Oh, of
Right.
And
course.
I would just be like, no, I messed up that word. Start over. No, I messed up that chord. And I wasn't great at guitar then either. I'm not great now either. But like then I was
False.
just
False.
not. It's
Don't
not-
listen
I'm
to
not
her.
Gonna, I'm not gonna. Shred
Anybody
on the
listening
guitar.
to this that is a false statement. I have heard it plenty of
But-
times.
But yeah, I would just literally sing for like 9 hours. And then after that, my mom would be home. And so I'd have to pick one of those takes, and I would be like devastated because I'd be like, everyone's going to think I can't sing. And this is so permanent. Everyone has this one video to prove if I should be worthy of music, like doing music or not. And I would just go into this depression, and then I would edit the video, and then I'd post the video, and then it'd be like midnight. So I'd spend like so long on it. And then I'd, repeat it the next week. It was a dream. As you
Insane.
can tell.
That's crazy.
Insane.
I can't even imagine doing that many. I think I
It was
started doing covers like I
much.
think I did 5 of them and I was done
Yeah.
doing
They're
covers.
taxing
It's
on you.
so much. Yeah, because again, like if you have any sort of like you just want it to be so good, and you have this studio version that you're listening to that
Yeah.
is so good, and you're
Yeah.
like, I need to be as good as this, which is
Yeah.
impossible,
Oh
especially
yeah,
if
they
like
have millions of dollars to put into the
yeah.
songs.
Yeah, because like again, I didn't know how to do anything audio wise really on YouTube. I started to learn like to throw reverb on it, but never really knew how to do like correcting pitch and stuff, which would have saved me so much. But yeah, it was so stressful.
Well, and the worst, I mean, the hard part now is, you say you were doing now, is that 6 years ago from now, or 6 years ago from when you kind of started switching over to doing more like other stuff?
Let's see. I think I did it. I think I did. I started in like 2015, and then I think I did it up to like 2020.
Okay.
And then I did like on and off, because then I had my brother came to live with us, and that kind of like changed when I could record, and
Mhm.
Right.
that's honestly what kicked me off of it. So, and then once I stopped, I kind of took a step back. There was, not to get like depressing, but there was this one, right, I think it was 2019 Christmas. I was like, okay, I need to get this Christmas song up, but I have to leave for vacation at 3 a.m. And like, of course, I didn't plan to do this until like 8 p.m. I didn't
Yeah.
pack nothing. And I was doing it with my mom, and we just couldn't get it down. And probably around like 2 a.m., I was just like laying on my floor crying. And I was just like,
Oh
I
no.
I was just like, I didn't get my video up, and just my life is over basically. Like
Oh my God.
just I was so, and then like maybe when I was on the plane, I was like, I don't think this is healthy for me. Like I don't think
Yeah.
I'm doing
Yeah.
okay at this moment. And then
I mean,
yeah.
I get it. I
Yeah.
mean, I was a
Absolutely.
full-time streamer for 2 years, and there were days where I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, just
It gets
just
you, isn't
It
it? It
does.
just like it can make you either feel like the best person in the world or the worst person in the
Yeah.
world.
yeah,
Anything in the
or both at
entertainment
the same
industry.
time. Like when
Mhm.
you get
Yes.
a TikTok that blows up, but like half the comments are like chewing you out, and it's just like, oh
Yes.
great, I had a friggin' TikTok that decided to go viral, which is great. But when you're getting like 1,000 comments that are like roasting
Yeah.
you, it's just like, oh, come on.
Yeah, it gives you
it's so bad for
anxiety.
you.
Yeah,
It does.
because you just start to think like, am I an awful person? Like,
Yeah.
you just think like
Or
a
am I
lot of
not
people
talented?
don't like me. Yes.
Mhm.
And it's so, you have to have
Yeah.
such a thick skin. I
You
don't
do.
know.
It's like
You
that
really
It's
do.
like that TikTok that you saw,
Well,
of the one, or the Instagram reel that I was telling, that we were talking
oh,
about
yes,
beforehand.
yes.
So I did an Instagram reel for everyone listening. I did an Instagram. Well, I did it as a TikTok, but I put it on Instagram too. Basically, the premise of it was, I'm interviewing for a job after having been a full-time content creator / streamer, and in the interview, the guy is actually asking what it meant, what does it mean being a content creator streamer? So I'm like, well, so first it's like, I was, just making a fool of myself like a lot. And
Yeah.
then I was like, and then you make posts on social media that you think will be great, and then end up doing horrible, and you think it's all your fault. And then you realize it's not your fault. Social media just sucks.
So
Yeah.
also, you're expected to be good at 30 different things.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, like you can't just be
You
a
have to be
singer.
perfect.
You have to be a
Mhm.
producer, a mixer, a masterer, a videographer, an
Oh, everything.
Yep.
influencer. It's like this whole thing that you don't sign up for, and you're like, it's the only way.
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
and then the next part of it is just it was exactly what it's like being a streamer. It's like, and then the trolls, and it's like they're just on you all the time, and then then I was
Yes.
like, yeah, you gotta have thick skin, and then I'm like, yeah, I just cry, and I just cry in the corner every evening. It's
Yeah.
fine, don't worry about it.
Fine.
And it's like, but that's the way it was. Like there was a
Yeah.
period of time where when I was like towards the end of my full-time career, when I was like realizing that Twitch Sings, I wasn't going to be able to keep doing it after Twitch Sings. As much as I had I have amazing people in this community, it wasn't too many of those people were only Twitch Sings. So I lost a lot of my
Yeah.
consistent viewership once Twitch Sings went away. And
Yeah.
I would stream, I would try and be happy, I'd try and look like everything was okay, and then it would be done, and I would lay on the bed and not move
Mhm.
Yes,
for
I
like
relate to that so much.
hours.
Yeah.
It's funny too because for some reason for me, like when I stream and let's say for some reason I got a raid and I'd have like, I don't know, 50 people in there, which is crazy for me. Like that, you would think that would be a lot of energy, but for some reason, if like let's say I had 2 viewers in there, that's so much more draining because the whole time all you're like you just you don't have anyone to bounce off of, and
Yep.
you're also
Yes.
fighting your depression because you're
Yes.
like,
Oh yeah.
what's wrong with me?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone hates
It was
me.
the
I'm
part I
not
hated.
exciting.
It was the part I hated most about being a music streamer, like trying to
Yeah.
do music after, was
Oh,
people would like all the time and be like, I love your voice, I love your voice. But what they would do is they would be doing other things and just listening to me sing and
And so there's
not
no engagement.
saying anything. So I'd be
yes.
like talking to myself for hours on end, and it was
Yes.
just like, ugh.
Draining.
Like
Yeah.
I can talk to myself a lot, but not that long.
I
Yeah.
think it's hard too with music, at least for like what I've found is sometimes I think, like you said, a lot of people will put you on in the background to listen, which is like, we love those people, right? It's like,
Absolutely.
yeah, great.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, like there'll be some times where I'll be streaming and I'll have like a good amount of people there, but like nobody's requesting songs. And then I'm just like, I don't know what to do. And like
Yes.
I have so many songs in here. It's overwhelming me to
Yeah.
pick one. And I'm like, I don't know what you guys want to hear.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
yeah, it
No,
can be
I understand.
so depressing.
Yep.
Well, yeah. Well, especially like, with music, entertainment, like all that kind of stuff, you just want to make the person on the other side like super happy. And when you're
Yes.
not getting that engagement, you just don't know what to do.
Oh, yes.
So
And
that
then
can be
like
draining.
I feel like sometimes I have such a hard time not like being like letting my depression show, and then I'm like, shoot, like these people came here to have a good time and I'm here just like bitching about the audio on my mic, just like ruining their day.
I mean, me personally, I love when streamers do that because there's human. Like you're a
Yeah.
human being, you're allowed to have those feelings. And I
That's
feel
good.
like too many people are so scared to show that or to feel like they have to be perfect. They have to sing
Yeah.
perfect, they have to act perfect, that you put
Mhm.
on this facade and you can't just be yourself. So I
Yeah.
think that's
Ugh.
such a wonderful quality you have.
Well,
But
thank
here's the
you.
thing. Here's the thing, and that's part of the problem
Hmm.
with streaming as a whole is, yes, there is a group of people, again, like, my community, the people that are around consistently, they don't care whether I'm having a bad day. They will support me if I say I'm having a bad day, and they will be there for me. But a large majority of people that watch streams, if they find out you're having a bad day and they hear you talking about it, they're going, that's not why I'm here.
Yes.
I want you to make me happy. I
Or
want
their
you to
millions.
play a game and do some crazy thing. If it's like
Yeah.
if Ninja or Shroud started talking about their feelings, I guarantee their numbers would start plummeting, which is why they
No.
probably never do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And it's
Ugh, it's so rough.
horrible.
it is.
But
Yeah, you're
It's
just
we also
expected to entertain,
Yeah.
which is
it's
great. I mean, it's the job,
it
but
is it is
it's
and
very
it's
hard.
I was watching another streamer and he was talking about his manager. This is a big streamer, and his manager said every time you go on vacation, take like 1,000 pictures of you doing different things all over wherever you are on vacation, being happy, and you will post them throughout the year. It could be winter time and you post pictures of you on vacation in the summer, and people love it because it makes them think that
Yes.
you're happy, and it makes them think that it makes them think about summer as when it's in winter and all these other things. And it's like,
Yeah, that's a struggle I try to get over too. Is I think if I were not trying to pursue music, I wouldn't be an avid social media user. Like,
Mm.
or if I was using it, I wouldn't post as much.
Yeah.
I've never been somebody who like really loved taking selfies. Again, like this is the perfectionism I'm trying to let die.
mhm.
But it's a struggle with, because when you are pursuing anything social online, you're expected to post consistently, like every day. Now it's like on 30 different apps, and it's
Oh
very
my
hard
God.
if you don't, want to.
Yeah.
Like, what do? You have to come up
Seriously.
with so many things. That's why, like, you're doing so good with that, Natty. It's just like,
Well,
I don't
I mean,
know.
it helps. So TikTok does it different. If you get into doing things like, so when I was doing, it's kind of interesting. So when I first started doing TikTok, it was funny stuff because that was my thing. It just, I've always been the comedian kind of a person in a group. That's always what I do. I like making people laugh. And then, you know, and then I had one like blow up. When I say blow up, I mean it had almost like 1 million views. Like it was blowing up. And then
Awesome.
enough people, it wasn't even one I did. It was literally a duet
reaction?
that I did with someone else who did the funny thing. And all I did was laugh on it, and somehow it started exploding. But then people reported it and it got dropped. And all of a sudden my views on everything just crashed. And I just
Yeah.
went into like super depression after that. Because I
Yep.
was like, I literally went from like maybe just over 1,000 followers to like almost 9,000 followers in like a
Yeah.
day. And I was like, I
Yeah.
was on cloud 9, and then then the anvil dropped on my head, and life sucked, and social media sucked, and it was just so bad. I had to
relate
get to a
that
point.
so bad.
I had to
So
get to
hard.
but where I went now, like once I decided I'm gonna do this podcast, I'm gonna, I was telling Rosie when I was talking about the podcast, I said the purpose of this podcast is partially I just like to talk.
Yeah.
I love hanging out with people and talking about things that are going on in the world. It doesn't matter if it's a deep subject, a casual subject. It doesn't matter. I just like to talk. So what I started doing was in my like, do I want my TikTok to grow? Yes, I want my TikTok to grow. Anyone who's listening to this, please follow my TikTok and be involved. I love it. I love it. I love it when people comment. I love having discussions in the TikToks like in the comments with people.
Yes.
So what I did was I do a little bit of everything now. I sit here, I'll make 5 TikToks that have to do with like the election. And then the next one I'll do is, making fun of, I did one where I'm just like, you ever start to do a TikTok and realize that you got nothing? And that was the whole thing. And I like dressed up in my red panda onesie and just walked up to like the camera with a voiceover, and it was hilarious and I loved it. And it got me like, I need to do like a little bit of everything now.
Oh yeah.
Or the serious stuff will drive me nuts.
Yes.
Or I just can't keep up with the creativity because so now it's like I just do things and I respond to people's comments, and then I do funny things, and I just kind of go all the way around, and that's the only reason that I can do this right now is
Yeah.
is
Absolutely.
I just kind of do a little bit of everything.
It's nice that you are kind of like going with comedy too, because I feel like I relate to that. I started like what TikTok, I don't know, last year, the year before, whatever, a couple of years ago, and I was like kind of posting music stuff mostly.
Yeah.
And then just on a whim, I post this video of my mom falling asleep. And guess what? It gets like 7 million views and like
Of course.
and like everybody's commenting and they love my mom and she's the best person on earth. And then like that was great because I was getting all these followers and I thought, oh cool, like they're gonna check out my music. No,
No.
that was like so brutal because they really weren't there to follow me, you know? Like they were just there for that funny video and
Yep.
then like they wanted nothing to do with me. So
Yeah.
then that threw all of my numbers off after that and then it was like a depressing thought of like, well, everybody loves my mom, but like what's wrong with me? Like
Oh,
nobody loves
no.
me,
Yeah.
you know?
And
And then which of course my mom is great, but
and that's where you need to
yeah.
get past the idea and you need to accept the fact that how much work you put into your social media content, what it is, all of that just doesn't matter. Literally
Yes. That's where
every
I am now.
post, anybody listening to me, every post that you put on social media is like throwing spaghetti on the wall and hoping
Yes.
something sticks.
Absolutely.
That is
A
it. That's
1,000,000%.
all of it.
And guess what?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be perfect.
Oh
I see
God.
so many people taking like 5 million different takes, like filtering themselves. It doesn't matter.
The only
Just
reason
throw
that
whatever
I
out
will
there.
do TikToks like a TikTok when I'm recording it like 100 times is to try and keep the time lower, because the shorter your TikTok can be,
Yes.
the better it will,
With the algorithm
the
and
better,
Yeah, that's
just
because
the
we
more
have little
people
bee
will
brains.
chance, the better the chance that someone will watch the entire thing.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
between 8 and 15 seconds is considered like primo.
Yeah. Well, it's all
And
a
then I'll
game
post something
too.
that's a minute and I'll
Yes.
get like 15 views on it. And I'll get like
Yes.
thousands of views on something that's like 10 seconds. And I'm like, I
Yep.
hate you all. I did so much
just-
work on the one that was
I
a
know.
minute. And
I
you watched
know.
the one that was 15 seconds.
I know. Oh my God. It's so mean. I hate that the internet is like that. And then it's just, that's why, like, so I just recently, the other day, which we were talking about too, with TikTok, I just made a new TikTok because I was sick of having, I think I have like 10.8 thousand followers, like on my TikTok, the one with my mom, right? And I was like, it's just so hard to gauge like how many of these people are actually here and how many of these people, and I also feel like the algorithm was, when I'd post a video of like, let's say my singing, would give it to a good chunk of my followers, but they probably don't even remember who I am or know who I am because I wasn't even in that video, and they'd scroll past and then my views would like cap out no matter what I posted.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I need to like make a new one, and now like I'm gonna just post what I want to. Like I'm so
Amen.
done with it.
Yep.
I've like gotten to such a point of acceptance.
And the
for
fact is,
you.
it's just like with everything. You have to be consistent and you have to do it.
Yes.
You have to do it for a good amount of time. And they will grow gradually. The more you
Yes.
do it, the more you grow. You'll have bursts and it'll drop a little bit, but you'll like, if you look at the
roller coaster.
average, you'll see the
Mhm.
thing going up the longer you do it.
So,
Yeah.
Kelaska, I have a question for that because in the
Sure.
Broadway world, we don't have to market ourselves. Like,
Ugh.
we actually like are told like kind of stay off of social media. So in the musician world, how much do you have to market yourself and put yourself out there? Like, how much time do you spend per week doing that?
I spend more time marketing and doing all of those things, which by the way, I hate like so much with a passion, more than I do actually singing or writing or playing
Wow.
anything. Yeah, it's like absolutely the number one thing that I spend time doing, and it's like it again, it's really is consistency. I feel like just really sitting down and trying to like figure out, okay, I need to have this many posts so I can at least post once a day bare minimum, and
Mm-hmm.
reaching out to like blogs or reaching out to playlists or just different
Wow, yeah.
things.
Or, I mean, what I do, like today, I probably made 10 or 12 TikToks just so I
That's
don't have to worry
awesome.
about it
That's so
for the next
awesome.
couple days. If I don't want
Yeah,
to,
keep
like
it
if
in
I
your
feel
drafts.
it's literally I have like 60 in my drafts. Now most of them I'll probably never use, but I've got like 60 and I'll go through if I'm just like lounging around, I'll watch TikToks, and if I see something I'm like, "Oh, I might be able to do something with that." I'll like duet or stitch, I'll pick the section and I'll hit record for like 2 seconds and I'll hit the check mark and then I'll throw it into drafts. I don't even know what I'm going to do, but I go, I might do something with this.
Yeah,
And then I
save it
go
later.
with it.
Yeah, sometimes I will save things to drafts, but then when like after the time has passed and like let's say it's 2 days from now, I'll look at it and I'll go, is this stupid? Like, am I an idiot in this?
But see,
Should I
that's
be
the
watching
thing.
Perfectionism talking.
That's the
Yeah.
thing. This is social media. Saying,
Yeah.
is this stupid? Doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Right?
People
it's
like stupid.
logically,
Mhm.
right? Like logically I know that, but I'm just like I don't know, something in that moment I'm like, I don't know, like do people like I get in that moment of like people hate me. They
I
don't
just-
want to see me say this.
I made a
This
TikTok
typical
today.
musician.
I made a TikTok today. Listen to this. I made a TikTok today that basically said, did you not understand your children's nonverbal communication? Here, let me help you. And you want to know what I did for like 5 different, I'm going to show you what they mean when they do these different nonverbal communications. And basically for 5 different scenes, I just went, and then I went like, I voice over and went anger,
Oh my God.
happy, embarrassed. Now they're saying they love you and like roll the eyes. And that was it. Like I just like made up literally like anything.
That's perfect though. Again, see, it's like because it's not me, because it's like not so personal. I'm like literally anything the two of you posted or anybody else, I'd be like, do it. Please,
You
like put
got
that
it.
you're so great. I want to see it all. But for
Here's
some
the
reason,
thing. And again, I understand. Trust me, I understand. I hate listening to myself on Twitch Sings duets. Absolutely hate it because I notice every note that I messed up. And I sit
Yeah.
there when I listen to it sometimes and I go, how the hell did I almost become partner singing these songs?
We're our own worst
Because
critics.
yeah.
this was horrible. And yet I remember some of these times and I remember watching the friggin' chat flying by with everybody loving it. I'm like, but it also sounds different
Yes.
because we do things here, in our little, our computers do things that Twitch Sings didn't do.
Yes.
So it changes things too. So
I know. Yeah, like Rosie said, we're our own worst critics.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
awful.
It is. When I
I
have to,
always
theater is now like basically all virtual, like auditions and callbacks. Everything is you have to tape it and send it. And girl, let me tell you, I take 2 hours worth of the same 16 bar cut because I look at it and go, oh my God, how could I send this to somebody? It's just like
Ugh.
you're kind of like conditioned in this industry that you have to be perfect at all times.
right?
And even if
Isn't
it
it?
is perfect, it's not, you know?
Yes. Oh my God. And it's so funny that we all go through it. Like, I just feel like so bonded with both of you as you're talking about your struggles, just because, like, for some reason, too, I feel like, again, logically, like everybody's going through this in the music industry, but for some reason, when it's happening to you, you feel so alone. Like, you feel so like, God, I'm just so stupid. Like, something is wrong with me that I can't get this
Yeah.
sentence right or
Mhm.
this or but
Yep.
yeah, it's funny how like we literally all are having the same experience
yeah.
of just
Yeah. Universally.
yeah.
Which I wanted to say this before. So I know the general area of where you live, Kelaska. So I have family up there. Not in just your state, but the state above it. That's where most of my family is. But my wife's family is actually in your state.
Yeah.
So next time I'm in that area, we need to get together and hang out And then I can
Yeah.
also help fix all of your computer
Please,
problems.
please come over here. Oh my God. I need somebody like every single stream. I just, like I said, I audio and like any of this mechanical stuff, any of the technical stuff
Yeah.
is my worst nightmare. Like I would literally rather eat nails than do any of it. And it's like every stream something's wrong and I'm just like, you guys, I can't do it anymore. I'm sorry. Just
When
I'm done.
so
I
there's
just-
there's a possibility that there's a definite possibility that I actually, you know, assuming things in my life don't change that completely, but there's actually a possibility that I will be in that area like for like a month.
Oh wow. Like you're
So
staying for a month?
yeah, like being like, so my wife's job may be changing, and with that
Mhm.
will allow her to like, will allow us to be able to be near family for like a decent amount of time. So when my daughter's on like summer break, we just spend a whole month up there as opposed to
That's awesome.
what we normally do. So there's a lot of possible things, but either way, I definitely want to meet you and help you with your problems. As you know, I like doing that kind of stuff anyways, which is
Please.
why I like messaged
Yeah,
you
it
before.
blows my mind. Like I said, I could never message somebody. I'd be like, I don't know, that's your problem. I can't even do my own. And then here you are just like messaging people on the fly, like, I'll help you. Just I don't even like
But I
with
remember
Twitch
what it's
Sing.
like. That's why other people helped me. I had some friggin' amazing mods throughout
Yeah.
the years of me streaming. I mean, I'm going on 4 years, 5 years, something like that as a
Wow.
streamer now.
Yeah.
I don't even
That's the
remember. I have to
thing.
look it up, but
I feel like how we were talking before, how if you go on, let's say, TikTok and you post a video or wherever, social media, like there are a lot of people that are very negative or a lot of people that are very opinionated, even if they like they word it like they're helping you, but really it's just like, you know, you didn't mean to make that comment. But I feel like with Twitch, like the music part of it is so kind and nice and
yeah.
just like even like all the people that watch, like I have the best people that
Yep.
come and watch my stream. Like I
Yep.
feel so blessed. And all the time, like I'll just like wake up in the morning, I'll be like pouring juice or something. I'll be like, wow, how bizarre that like these people spend their day with me. That
Yeah.
they like choose to do this.
Yeah.
So
It's just
wonderful.
I always feel
Yeah.
bad because the times that I really see you are when I raid you, and I've already streamed for a while, and then I raid you, and I'm just like, I have to go do everything else that I've been putting off doing while I was streaming. So I'm just like, I want to stay there and talk to you and say hi and do things, but it's like, I haven't used the bathroom in like 6 hours, and I haven't had any food, and I haven't blah, blah, blah. So it's
don't
like,
feel bad.
but I feel bad because I want to
No.
be there and I
I
want to
know,
hang out with you.
I know that's exactly how I feel, and then I just personally never go on Twitch like in my free time and
Yeah.
unless like I'm already on there, and then like that's exactly what it's like for me. So like when it happens with you, I'm always like, I get it, like
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
or anybody else, but like I know what you're saying, because for some reason when I go on somebody else's stream, I'm like, oh my God, they probably think I hate them because I'm not and I'm not sticking around as long as I'd like to, but
Yeah.
I love them all. Like everybody's so great on there.
Yep.
It's so nice.
It is. We got a lot of great communities. I mean, I mean, I know mine and Rosie's a little bit better because I'm a mod for Rosie's stream, so
That's
I
awesome.
interact with her people a lot more too. But they're all. I mean, your
everyone's so
stream
wonderful.
too, Kelaska, is friggin' is awesome from what I get to experience.
I like too that sometimes I will just like be lurking in a random music stream and I'll see a lot of people that I recognize that'll stop in my stream or like go in other people's streams, and I'm like, it's really cool that they are just
Yeah.
bouncing around.
I
Yeah.
wish I was more confident in my musicianship. Like, I know I can sing. I do not feel comfortable at all in my guitar skills, like at all.
Same.
And
That's shocking to hear.
and because of that, like, and Twitch Sings made me realize it, but then playing guitar made me realize it even more. I don't know so many songs.
Yes. Oh yeah.
So someone will come up to me and go, "Can you play this song?" I'll be like, "I have never
What
heard
song?
that song in my entire life." And then I'll
Yeah.
like play it and I go, "Oh yeah, I've heard that song." And then I'll try and play it and I'll realize I've listened to the song like 1,000 times and I still have no idea how the song goes.
Oh my God. Yes. I have like, I think we either have like 450 to 500 songs on my song list. And it's too many because so many of them consist.
So many songs.
They consist of like people like I know how to sing them. Like if we're gonna
Yeah.
go to karaoke, sure. But then like I'll do the chords and I'll be like, oh man, like not only do I not know where these changes are going down, but I do not know how to strum this. I don't know how to pick
Yeah.
this. And then like somebody's already requested it, so I'm like, I guess we'll just go with it.
Yeah.
We'll just see where it
It's-
lands.
And like I can make up like singing it. You give me anything and I'll it doesn't matter if I don't know
Yeah.
the melody. All I have to do is like, as long as someone else is singing the melody or there's melody, like if there's music in it, I can pick it out. I can BS melody without a problem as long as I've got music behind it. I'll just make it up. But
That's great.
but you try and tell me to play something? No.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
I know the basic chords of everything. Like I know the basic chords. But you start getting to these complicated things that some of these songs are, and I'm just like,
Yeah. Some of them too,
Forget
like
it.
you can tell they were written on piano, and I'll like go
Oh,
to
yeah.
do that in a stream, and it's like with piano, I feel like it's easier to like be like bum 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 bum,
It's
you know, like
super easy.
whereas
or
like
if you're a really
guitar,
good
like
picker. You got to
yes,
be a
like
really good picker, and I'm
if
not.
you were amazing, maybe you could do that, but I feel like in general it's too clunky on a guitar to be like bum 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 bum, you know, like you
Yeah.
have to like condense it, and it's a struggle for sure to try
Yeah.
to figure out all of those tabs and chords live.
Especially on the fly, yeah.
You're just like, man, I don't know. And then again, like that comes into like the depression because then all of a sudden you play it and you're like, oh, I don't deserve to sing. But
So Rosie, how did you get into music?
My sister, actually. So she's 2 years older than me. She was like my idol growing up. And she was in music theater. I was like, oh, I guess I'll try that too. I think I started like when I was in like 5th grade. And then
that's so cool.
yeah, I've been in it my whole life. And in high school, my parents said, do you want to do this for a living? Like you have to make sure before you go to university and do this. And I said, yeah, this is what I want to do. And I just stuck with it. So I mean, I'm assuming you might be the same way. I literally can't think of doing anything else. Like when I do
Yeah.
survival jobs, oh my God, like I cannot handle it at all. Like not a fan knows, I hate survival jobs. But throw me anything with music and I'm there.
Oh,
She complains a little bit.
awesome.
But just a lot of it.
Just a lot of it.
That's so cool though that like in you said high school, right? That your
Yeah.
parents, that's so cool
Yeah,
that they were
super
like kind of,
supportive.
yeah.
How
That's
long
amazing.
did it take from the point you decided I'm gonna try and make it on Broadway before you got your first Broadway gig?
Good question.
Ooh. It took about 4 years, which is
Wow.
honestly very short in our world.
So
Like it
that's
usually
4 years of like going to like actually going to auditions and not getting it
Oh,
before you
yes.
finally got.
Yep. And that's short. Like most people don't even make it to Broadway. And then if you do, it's like 10, 15 years in the industry. Or you get that lucky break.
That's amazing.
I
Yeah,
can't
it's
Were
even
you
imagine.
what was your first one that you
The
got?
cabaret tour. I don't know if
What
you
do
know
you?
cabaret at all.
I'm
but-
not. No, I don't.
So it was super fun. My part was literally being in my underwear on stage for almost a year. Every
you
single
nervous?
day. No.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was fun. And then, I mean, like, I feel like how you said you have to do so many different things. Like you have to like
Yeah.
yeah, same thing with theater. Like I only got this job because I play the cello professionally. So I had to dance, sing, act, and then all of the actors made up the pit.
I
So
can't.
that's why I got hired.
I don't even know how you guys all do it. Like I watch, you see like, and again, it might, you can tell me based on what you've said and just my experience in musicals, like there are people that were like in Hamilton, like
Mhm.
you don't just do one little part, you do like 6 or 7 different parts,
Yes.
and it's just
Yeah.
like, how do you? I
Right?
don't
And then
even
there's
get
people
it.
that are like swings that learn the entire show.
Oh my
And then
God.
within half an hour, they're told, oh, you're going on for this person. They're sick.
Have you ever done that?
No. And honestly, I don't think I could ever do that.
What
Like,
a rush that must be.
oh, yeah, it's wild.
Especially
Oh,
if it's a big break one, like it's like a main, like one of the leads gets sick and you get to be a
Yes.
lead and everyone loves it.
One
That
of my friends was
that must
the
be
swing
cool.
and understudy for music band for the lead. I don't know if you know, like Sutton Foster and Hugh Jackman were the 2 leads. And so she got her big break doing that. And like the first
oh,
night she went on, she was like, I'm going to vomit everywhere. Like it's like it's
Yeah.
just
yeah.
wild what your body has to go through.
Oh my
I mean, I've
God.
been in a couple musicals, but that's like I can't imagine doing, like I did like Pirates of Penzance and
That's a
Mikado,
good
and
one. Oh, that's a good one too.
those are great. Those
Yeah.
are so much fun.
So after you got the first one, was it easier to then get more
No.
of them? Really?
Yeah. And you
Ah,
would think once you break into the industry, it would be super easy.
yeah.
It's just as hard, like
Re-
sometimes even harder. And I was just
Wow.
reading an interview with the guy that played Aladdin for the movie, and it took him I think 2 years to book. He was like, I need you guys to know, like I was Aladdin in Disney's live action, and I cannot even get an audition. So like in our world, it's just there's just too many people and too little
Yeah.
jobs.
And that's why you're walking dogs.
That's why I'm walking
Yeah.
dogs.
But at least you kind of like the dogs, right?
Oh my god, yeah. I will say that that is one side job that I really, really love.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a survival job?
Me?
Yeah.
Like just like I I guess a bunch of them. But just like a quote unquote regular job. Is that what you mean
Yes,
by that?
yes, yes.
Right? Like
The one
when
that
I say
pays the
Just a
that.
normal
bills
human job,
until you
yeah.
can do something that pays the bills.
Yeah, I went to, well, I worked like in supermarkets, and then I went to cosmetology school after high school because that's around the time I was like, again, the music thing probably won't take off, so I gotta be practical. I went to cosmetology school. I finished, but I hated it. And then I was still thinking music wouldn't be something I could pursue, so I really like decorating cakes and baking. So then I
Wow.
started doing, like, I worked in a couple different bake shops, and I thought I was gonna do that. I almost owned like my own bakery.
Wow.
And
So
then,
cool.
yeah, and then that was right around the time that I started doing music. And then when I started doing music, like YouTube, obviously I wasn't making anything really,
Hmm.
especially because it was all covers. And so I got a job at a cafe, and I worked there for maybe 4 years, and that was intense, but I did love it.
Oh, good. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like you have to put on so many hats.
Oh yeah, it's too much. It's very
Yeah.
overwhelming, but that's life, I guess.
Oh yeah.
So January 2020, you decided to go. No, when did you go full time at music? Like when did you leave?
Well, I left when the pandemic, like in
So like
March
March,
2020, I
April.
would say. Yeah, but then it was very hard because I had all of these plans, which we all did, I was like, all right, I'm gonna start booking gigs and playing out and doing all these things, and I'm just gonna
And
like
then the
by the
pandemic hit.
yeah, I was like, I'm gonna still keep up with my YouTube once a week, and I'm gonna do this and that and blah blah blah. And then that none of that happened.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of, then I got in like out of the momentum, and then it was very hard to get back into it. So I still have not really, like, I've played a couple gigs in my life, but not as many as I'd like.
Mm,
And
Yeah.
I'm
mhm.
still trying to get back to
So
You're
so
back into the
what,
out
groove.
there.
and this
Yeah.
interests me because I mean I love music. I've been singing since I was 4 or 5. Like I've been singing forever. And I love performing. If any of you if you haven't seen me before, you should know I love to perform. Um what has it been like for you being a full-time streamer? Like we had talk about the hard part in social media, but specifically like the music, the writing, like and obviously I'm actually going to talk to you about this after the podcast, but I want to write a song. And I want to write a song with somebody because if I'm sitting here working with someone, I can start being creative. You ask me to just sit here and just start spewing things out, my brain literally goes beep, like you're just like does not compute. Like I can't tell you how many times I've started trying to write a song and I can even tell you what I want to write about, but I've never done it. So I want to know from your experience, how has your experience been, like, being a full-time musician, but also like how do you write a song? How do you go about, like, how do you start at least, or
How?
anything? Just help me, Kelaska.
I love it. I love songwriting. I've actually been writing songs since I was probably about 11, and I used to have this like little yellow notebook in my room, and they were the dumbest songs, the dumbest song I've ever heard. Like, and I would just like write in that thing every single day, and I would like just make that my whole life.
Uh-huh.
And then so I don't know if maybe that has helped, but I've always loved writing. There was a time period in high school where I thought about maybe pursuing journalism. I just feel like talking, I never get out exactly what I want to say. Like
Hmm.
some of it I blame on the ADHD because it's like all jumbled, and I tend to speak before I take a second to think about it. And
Yeah.
I also tend to be long-winded. And so it's hard, but with writing, it's so nice to just be able to like write it down. I tend to write down everything I'm feeling, and then I'll go through and pick out different things as far as
Maybe
songwriting.
that's my problem. As a guy, I
Yeah.
feel like I like I don't it's hard for me to put into words what I'm
Mm.
feeling. Partially
Yeah.
because we have been uh, I mean, this is a weird offshoot, but we as guys have been taught
Yeah.
not
Oh
to talk
yeah.
about our feelings. That
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that rub some dirt on it and keep going is the
right.
mantra of most
Man up.
Right?
men.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you guys have
And
been
I
so
consider
conditioned.
myself pretty in touch with my feelings for a guy, and even then I just can't. The idea of writing down what I'm feeling just does not compute.
Maybe another thing, like, I don't know if maybe you don't even know, but subconsciously you could be thinking like when you're gonna go do it, like, what do I write? And then that kind of stumps you rather than just like maybe you just start with like describing the room you're in, like
Mm.
Mhm.
take it to sometimes like that's helpful too, because another thing is a lot of great artists will use imagery for, so they'll like write a bunch of like they'll write where they're at, and they'll describe a scene, and then that might help you like tell a story. So maybe like write, like, you're just take it slow, step by step. Describe the room you're in, even if
Mhm.
it's not the room you're actually in.
Yeah.
And then maybe describe the characters you're seeing. And then after that, maybe try to just loosely be like, what's the story? Even if it's just something like, there's a heartbreak, something as vague as that could
Mhm.
maybe lead you. And then maybe after you've started, it wouldn't be as hard because you've already put pen to paper
Right.
and gotten somewhere a little
That's
bit.
possible.
Yeah.
And again, it's the same thing with the music. You see, okay, so I mean, you guys know Greatest Showman, right?
Oh yeah.
Do you guys know the stories behind all of the songs that were written for Greatest Showman? Like, have you ever watched those things? Okay,
No.
so if you like, if you ever get a chance to watch, so like we own it on iTunes, and they've got all like the extras, and there's a section where the two guys. So originally, when the songs, when they were writing Greatest Showman, they put the songs out to everybody. It wasn't, so two people wrote all the songs for Greatest Showman, but when it started, it wasn't supposed to be one, like two people, like one or two people that wrote all of them. They just put it out to every song out to everybody, and people for every specific song were were saying, oh, I'm putting in a song for Greatest Showman, blah 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 blah, and it just ended up being these two guys that got every single song. But
Ah,
the
to
song,
be
this
those
is the
guys.
song, This Is Me, that everyone loves so much. They wrote that song from start to finish on an airplane ride from the East Coast to the West Coast to pitch the song.
That's awesome. There's nothing like procrastination that really gets you.
This wasn't
Oh,
even
yeah.
procrastination. This was the director called them and said, we need a song for
Oh
this.
wow.
And we need you to fly to LA and pitch the song that isn't written to the people that are going to decide whether we actually make this movie or not.
Oh,
You know what
really?
though?
And on a tiny little keyboard on an airplane, they wrote that song.
That's awesome though, because I feel like, at least from what I've heard from other people who've written songs, or what I go through sometimes, is if you have too much time, you really start to overthink like the stupidest little details, or the
Mhm.
words, or does this sound weird, or whatever. And I have found that when I am in a zone where I have to get something done and I have no choice, it's kind of like it's more authentic, I think, and you don't stress over these little details.
Yeah.
So that might have helped them. But it's still
Yeah.
incredible. Like, it's crazy incredible they did that.
6 hours.
It's
They
so
wrote
cool.
what ended up being one of the most famous songs in musical movie history.
Good for
Holy
them.
moly.
Man.
So wait, how long, Kalaska, did it take you to write Autopilot?
I tend to write pretty quickly because I just like spew a lot of things out there. Sometimes I talk so much I don't even like remember what I'm saying. And so when I was writing that, I kind of like tuned my guitar differently, and I kind of came up with like a little bit of the riff of it, and then kind of immediately the melody came to me, and then once that was there, it was like the words were just the only thing that I would say, like, I wrote 90% of the song within like 10 minutes. And then the only thing that was stumping me was the chorus. Like, I knew kind of what I wanted to say, but the melody was getting to me, because I was like, the melody I had was just kind of lame. And then after I went to my producer's house, we laid down the track to kind of build it out maybe and get some inspiration. And then once that was there, I wrote maybe, I don't know, again, like 90% of the chorus, but the last line, I knew I wanted to say I'm on autopilot, but we were kind of having a back and forth, because he was like, I don't really feel like that makes sense. And I was like, no, like, that's what this song's about. Like, this is based, what I wrote the song off of was this thing. And it was kind of a back and forth of like, is this the right line? Until finally I was like, again, like, I had too much time. I probably spent a solid month going back and forth between like, how am
Wow.
I going to end this chorus? And I had that line all along, but I just was second guessing it.
Yeah.
And then I actually went on stream and was just kind of, you know, doing whatever. And there was a couple people there, and I said, can I run something by you guys and tell me which one you like better? And they chose that one, the autopilot one. And then I was like, okay, good. This is like the validation I needed.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna go record the rest of that.
Oh,
Do you
that's amazing.
use do you bounce your music off of people before you Like, obviously you bounce it off your producer, but do you bounce it off of people outside of that, like him, a lot with your
I
music?
What's funny is I always have people that will say to me, like, you really should be like sending your next single to like a test group of people to see if, they like it. But the problem that I have is it becomes a little too precious to me by the time that
Yeah.
I get like a demo of it. And I'm like, if I've gotten to the point where I've written lyrics and a melody, then I
Mhm.
usually like it enough
Yeah.
where I'm like, I really don't care. I'm going to release it
And
anyway.
I can
Yeah.
imagine, just because with everyone's just what everyone likes in any song is all, like, everyone's is so different. Like, you send
Oh
it to
yeah.
six
So
Yes.
people,
subjective.
you can get
Yes.
six completely different things that just turned into a brand new song if you made all the changes that they said,
Oh,
kind of a
yeah,
thing.
exactly. It's hard to find the line between our people. Oh my gosh. Why is this doing this? It's hard. Anyway, it's hard to find the line between, like, oh, should I take this person's advice because it's going to make me a better songwriter and
Uh-huh.
musician? Or should I stick to my guns because it's not authentic? Like, am I just trying to please this person?
Yeah.
Like you can't ever really know if like what advice you should take and what advice you should follow your gut.
Yeah.
Okay, so so now I got a question for both of you because I cannot answer this question. What is it like being a woman in writing songs and being in Broadway? Like do you notice like a difference? Like,
Yes.
Unfortunately.
yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Like, in what way? We're not going to just end the question right with yes.
You're like,
As much
yeah,
as as
move
much as
The
we
on.
end.
could,
Bye.
we gotta. I need you to expand a little bit on that.
Do you want to go first, Rosie?
Sure. I mean, there's firstly with Broadway, there is 10 times more women than there are men. So the field within itself is just so inundated with women, but also the respect for women in this industry is 10 times lower.
Hmm.
It's pretty awful. Like the whole casting couch situation and the Me Too movement, like Broadway was definitely involved in that. There was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and things have gotten a lot better now, which is great, but I'm still dealing with stuff even when I work regionally as a woman in this field where I'm like, I cannot believe you just said that to me. Or I don't know, it's pretty wild the stuff that you have to deal with even when you're around creative people who should be open-minded to things. They're not.
I think the midterms in 2022 made us all realize that there are people out there that can and will say things that
Yes.
just boggle our minds. So
Oh yeah. Yeah. Or treat you in a certain way. Like I know I haven't gotten jobs because of that,
Right.
which is
Right.
mind-blowing. What about you, Kalaska?
I think for sure it's so hard because I think you have a little bit of pushback from people that'll say that, we're just exaggerating these things or kind of like making a bigger deal out of them than they are, any of that. But I feel like it's kind of the comparison, like if you buy a red car, all of a sudden you see red cars everywhere, right? But
Mm-hmm.
like nobody else is seeing them, but you are, because like you are picking up on it, you're thinking about it, you're paying attention. And I feel like that's the only thing is sometimes the people who are fighting back on you, they just aren't paying attention, or like at that point I feel like they're personally attacked and they don't want to hear these
Yeah.
things.
yeah.
But it definitely happens because like, or else there wouldn't be so many people like having the
Yep.
same experience,
Yes.
right? With in if as a musician, um there's like a crazy statistic. It was going around, I want to say last year, where they grouped like how many women producers are there and how many women uh, musicians have been on the Billboard 100, or just like a bunch of statistics. And they're all so low. And it's, again, like it's these are real facts, like these are real numbers taken from places, so like you can't get out of that. One thing that I feel like I notice a lot is even people that I would consider to be friends. So like I try not to take it to heart because I think that they're just not realizing what they're doing.
Mm.
Is as a female musician, I feel like I get looked at like I'm stupid sometimes. Like I will have so many male musicians, never a female, never, ever, never once has this ever happened in my life. Male musicians come to me and be like, I could tune your guitar for you if you want. Or they'll be like, I could help you transpose the chords to the song. And it's like, thank you. That's what I do every day. Like I've only been doing this for years, you know. And again, like it's hard because you don't want to be.
Can I be the first to apologize for my gender?
Well,
I
again,
do
like,
this.
it's
I feel
not-
like I used to do this all the time. That was the thing. People would say stuff and I'd be like, I'm just going to apologize for my gender because some of us are just
But
idiots.
see, yeah, but see, I mean, I guess like it's hard because there are so many that are men that are like so helpful and nice, but I do think that I just come across so many that just want to give me unsolicited advice, and I almost never ever hear it from women. Like even when I was on YouTube, I would have countless men, and again, even ones that I'd considered friends. So you know that they're not doing it from a mean place, but they would just throw their opinions like, you need to be smiling at the camera 24/7, or you need to be looking at this, or you need to be, and it would be like, you know, like who are you?
Now I will
You're not even a
say,
musician.
speaking as a guy, we are taught problem solving. You see a
Yes.
problem, you fix a problem.
That's
you don't think,
Sir, I
our
fixed
brains
your
don't go,
Discord.
oh, that person can probably handle it themselves. They just see the problem. And the second your brain sees the problem, your brain goes, there's a problem. They haven't fixed the problem. Why haven't they fixed the problem? It's probably because they don't know how to fix the problem. So I'm going to be nice and bring up potentially helping them fix the problem because I'm trying to be helpful. In general, most guys that do it aren't trying to be asses. They're trying to be helpful. They're just, brains just don't work the same.
Yeah. Oh,
Brains just
agreed.
don't
And
work.
that's
Well,
why,
sometimes
like,
that's true too.
That's why, like, again, I would never want to like say like,
Yeah.
oh, all men are doing this, or even be like, they're doing it to be mean, or they're treating me like I'm dumb. It's, you know, I think it's like more complicated than that because like you said, like a lot of them that's why I never try to fight back on any of it because I'm like, they're trying to be nice. Like they're not realizing, and you know,
But that's,
like, what am I?
it's funny that you bring it up because that is the exact purpose of Brutal Truth, is to have these kind of conversations and is to go, you know, you're saying this is what you see and this is what it feels like. And then we can come back, you know, then I can say, well, this is what a guy's brain is going through. Because we don't think about it. I don't think about what's going through other people's heads in the moment. But if you don't talk about it, you're never going to realize that the way you're acting is wrong, which is why I always tell anybody in any job, anywhere, if I screw up, tell me I screwed up.
Yeah, I just
Because
think that
if you don't, I can't fix the problem.
the problem though is that there are a lot of people out there that don't want to be told. Like I'm sure that I'm sure there are some people where if I bring up that men have done that to me in the past will be like, oh God, like not another feminine, you know what I mean? Like they are so quick and you're like, no,
But again,
like you're fine.
it's a problem that we have worked our way into. Guys especially have also been told, but girls too. I mean, my daughter has specifically said this. You never say you're sorry because saying sorry is a sign of weakness. In a job, you don't show
Me too.
you don't show that you can't do something. You don't show you,
Yeah.
like, you don't admit that you failed, because if you admit that you failed, that's a reason for someone to fire you, because we
Yeah.
have trained in corporations especially that if you admit you failed, that's a reason for them to let you go. So you just never admit that you failed, even when it's blatantly obvious that you failed, because we have someone who was a freaking president for 4 years that has done nothing but fail, and somehow people still want him to be president again. I'm not angry or anything.
God. And so,
Right?
oh my God.
It's
Awful.
mind-blowing,
Yes.
but
But that's the kind of world that we've turned ourselves into, that it's not okay to show any weakness, even though
yeah.
the best way you learn, like, that's how you learn.
Yes, you have to fail.
Almost everything that we have learned in life has been from failure. We may have learned some stuff from doing it right magically without it, but you look at most of the things in your life that have become ingrained into your brain that you will never screw up on, it's because you have failed at it and you don't want to fail at it again.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. It's just I think like it's just some people don't realize that they should be learning this, you know?
Because
Absolutely.
failure's a
I
sign of
wish-
weakness.
Yeah, I wish that they would, but yeah, and again, I feel like I'm a more passive person a lot of times, like in situations with people that I don't super trust, or you know, like I just don't want to make anybody mad at me, and I don't want to make anybody feel like I'm mad at them. So a lot of times in situations, I'll get intimidated with like male musicians, and I like, again, to my fault, I think I'll almost like let them, like I'll be like, sure, tune my guitar, like, because you know, I'm just like, whatever, I don't want to make you mad at me. I don't want to like start that conversation. So
Yeah.
so I think like some of it can be like my fault too, but
Well, and
yeah.
but that's also good, because, you know, I've had this conversation with a bunch of people. I live with this idea, like, when it comes to interacting with people, I live with this idea of what are the most important things in life. So I always tell this story. We, you know, in World War II, or in any war. So if you're the one being attacked and you are defending, as the other people are attacking, if they start like pushing you back, you start going back. And basically what would happen is like, if you got on, like, the bridges, like when you have a river, the bridge is the part that you defend. That's like the easiest place to defend, because depending on how big the river is, you can't get over it anywhere else. So like bridges are like the ultimate defense points. If you're at like the bridge right before the town, which, like, if they get to that, it's over. Like, you've lost it all. In war, that's the bridge. Like, you have to decide, like, anytime you pull back, you have to decide, is this the point of no return? Is this the bridge that I'm willing to die over? Because if you lose, you only die once.
Yeah.
In war, you only die once. So if you die on that bridge, it's done. You can't die again. So
Yeah.
that's when, like, that's why in everything, is this, you know, oh, we still have some spots that we can move back. So let's keep moving back. And then you get to this, is like, is this the bridge to die over? And that's how I live. That's how I try and live my life when I interact with anyone. I've got these things that are important to me, you know, like caring about people, like whatever it is, whatever are the important things in my life. Like, if I see someone being an ass to another human being, that's one of those uh-uhs that you go in and you stop. But if someone's just, you know, has their opinion and they're saying it horribly, I have to sit there and go, is this a bridge that's worth dying over? Because what ends up happening is if you get upset about, and a lot of people do it right now, if you get upset about everything that someone else does that upsets you, what happens? People stop listening. You become the boy who cried wolf, and nobody
Right.
listens to you when something really important comes because you get upset about everything. So what are the bridges that are worth dying for? And what you said is perfect. It's frustrating as hell that someone would think that you don't know how to tune your own dang guitar because you're a musician. Of course you know how to do it.
Yeah.
But is it worth getting upset about?
Right.
Yes.
I think too. I think too in the repetitiveness of it. Like the first time it happens, you're kind of like, no, I can tune it. Then like by the 12th person, you're just like, whatever. just
Good. I'm the opposite. I'm like, stop repressing me. I
Yeah.
know how to do my job.
But okay, well, look at it this way. Just as a quick side, and again, I'm not saying it's right. I think it's silly that someone who's a musician would need someone else to tune their guitar. But
Yeah.
you could almost bring it to another point where you could look at it like, all right, tune my guitar. That's something I don't have to worry about anymore.
Exactly.
I'll go
That's
do something
true.
else that instead
That
of
is
spending my
true.
time tuning that guitar.
Exactly. I'm just like, I think like when I first started, around when I first started YouTube, like I would say when I was around like 25, right? I had so much drive and I had so much fight and I had so much like I would get if I got like sexual comments or something, I
Mm.
would like kind of fight back at them or like, just certain things I would just put so much energy in. And
Mhm.
I feel like now like a lot of my energy is gone. Like I just don't, like you said, I don't have as many of those bridges I'm willing to die on at this point. I'm just kind of like, you know what? They're
Because it's
just gonna keep
exhausting.
coming. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're just it's
It's
just
constant.
gonna happen next month. So
Yep.
I can't put all my energy into this one when I know this one's coming, and I got to put it elsewhere.
Yep.
But yeah, it is definitely frustrating to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Matt, I saw you looking at
People
the
are rough. No, I was looking at the list of
of
other
questions.
questions. And just still sitting here thinking about how much easier life would be if there weren't so many people in it.
Thing too
It's
is like
true.
putting yourself online. You just open yourself up to so many more
Mhm.
opinions.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, and so much criticism.
Yeah, and I think the hard part too is that a lot of people will like if you complain about that, they'll be like, "Oh, well, that's the life you chose, right?" Like they get mad at you almost. They're like,
Yes.
"How
Yeah.
dare you not want to hear this sexual comment about
Yes.
yourself from this troll?" Like it's like,
Well, and that's
you know,
that is the hard part because they are partially right. And this is coming from someone that's dealing with the crap too. They are partially right. You knew, like we knew going into becoming content creators that we were going to deal with trolls.
yes.
Oh, okay.
We
trolls,
knew
yes.
it. We knew
But
it.
I
I thought
think
you meant
like
the sexualized comments.
But that's still a troll. That's still a troll. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right. It is absolutely wrong. Anyone that does those kind of stupid things should get banned and not be allowed on social media. But
yeah.
it's a frustrating fact, but it is still a fact that there are lots of those people out there because the internet is a pool of anonymity that people think that they can get away with stuff like
absolutely.
that. So
Yeah.
as much as it's ridiculous and I wish it never happened, we still have to go into it knowing that it is going to happen. Whether we
isn't that
hate it or
sad?
not, whether it's right or
But-
not, we still have to understand that it is going to happen.
I think like though that's the thing is like yes, you can understand it's going to happen, but you don't have to take it. Like
Yes.
just because and again, like I don't know who decided like, oh, it should just be like a thing that's with the job because you're right. Like it is
no.
you have to like you have to expect it and you can expect it, but you also just again like you don't have to deal with it. And
Right.
you don't have to there's no like if you get upset about something, like that's a fact too. Like you're also a human being.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you
And-
should be able to be upset.
But that's where
about
it's
it.
hard because you go in to being a streamer, and obviously I can't speak on the sexual harassment part that you guys deal with, obviously, but you still go into a streamer knowing there are going to be trolls. That doesn't stop it affecting you when a troll comes in and says something that you knew he was going to say. Like,
Yeah.
But why should that be allowed in the first place?
but how
That's
can
where
you
I come
stop
from.
it? Like
You
allowed
can't.
isn't like allowed is like it's this. Okay, so the second you do something, you put in something in place that could prevent that from happening, is the second you start putting so many restrictions on it that you almost start banning people's ability to have, because the fact is there are streamers that like the sexual
And that's
content,
totally
that
fine.
like
Yeah.
it, but how do you, like, where's the line?
Right.
But you got
You-
you got to put your own boundaries out there and say that's not okay.
Well, obviously, and that's why we've got people like our mods that, you know,
Yeah.
you say what the level is and you ban them. But again, that doesn't stop it from happening. That stops it potentially from happening as much in the future as you ban more of the people that are doing the things. But it doesn't stop them. There's 8 billion people in the world right
Mhm.
now.
Yeah. Not necessarily saying, I guess, that like I have a problem that they're saying it. I have a problem that these people have also put themselves online in my stream to write something, and then they can't deal with what I have to say back to
Yes.
them. They
Yes.
think that I should take it and not
Yes.
have any. I should be like, well, I guess I'm a streamer, so I guess
I
you
have
should
to
just be
accept
able
it.
to do whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's so many trolls, and I've luckily always had pretty thick skin. Like I cannot even think of any comments that have ever like really got me down and out. Like usually they're laughable.
Yeah.
But what I don't like is if you ever say anything back, that's when they get mad. Like, how dare you? You should be devoting your life to hearing these comments about
They
yourself.
they throw statements like freedom of speech at you.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, but now I let me have my freedom of speech. Like they don't want to
Mhm.
hear your fight
Well,
back.
and-
It's your
you know?
platform.
And it's not freedom of speech that they want, it's freedom from responsibility that they want. Like freedom
Yeah.
of speech is your right. We all have the right to say literally whatever we want. But
Yeah.
that does not mean that if you say certain things that there
consequences.
aren't consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You nailed it. It's responsibility that they're
Yep.
not willing to accept.
Which is
That's
the
so true.
which is the joy and horribleness of anonymity on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I feel like we came to
Yeah.
a middle ground there.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, we did. I wasn't
brutal truth.
I wasn't in any way saying you guys were wrong. I 100%
Oh, no.
agree.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. But again, it was just one of those, you know, you
I
go
just
into
think it's-
things
Yeah.
that
You go into things knowing, but it's just like sad. It would almost be like
of course.
if you were a garbage man and you're like, okay, I signed up for this job to collect garbage, but like a bunch of houses were like, I'm gonna friggin' throw my garbage on the lawn and
Yeah,
make them
of
go pick
course.
up the garbage. And then if the garbage people were like, hey, like we didn't sign up for this, we know it's a part that we might have to deal with, but we would like to stick with this.
Absolutely.
Then these house people are
Absolutely.
like, how dare you?
It
Like,
sucks.
It's
It
my
sucks
lawn.
and it shouldn't
Yeah.
happen. People should respect each other, but they
Mhm.
don't.
Yeah.
And again,
They just-
this is a sad break off to what we have seen in like spades in the current political climate. Is this there is just so many people that have no respect for anyone that doesn't believe or think the way that they think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's become very, very black and white.
Mhm. Yeah. Exactly.
And anyone that thinks that human beings are black and white, they've literally been living in the smallest bubble on the entire planet,
Yeah.
because
There's so many facets.
nobody is the same, not even close.
Right.
I'm not even the same as I was yesterday. You know.
Can
Right,
you even remember what
exactly.
you did yesterday?
No.
Oh.
No, I don't even remember what I said 30 minutes ago.
Okay, so I've got a question. So, how many songs have you written now in in your career of writing songs? Like, how many have you actually put out?
Okay. How many? Well, how many have I put out professionally? Like I got
Yeah.
mixed and mastered and produced?
Yeah.
Let me think about this for a minute. There were 6 on my EP. There were 3 before that, so that's 9. There were 3 last year, that's 12. And there were 4 this year, so that's 16. So I think
16.
but then I've also been like a co-writer on 2 collabs. So I don't know if those count or not.
Sure, it counts to me.
Or I guess 3 collabs. So I guess
So like 15
professionally,
songs, 29, almost 20 songs.
yeah, probably.
Amazing.
So
Yeah.
where, like, obviously your goal, you're doing this for a career, you want to keep doing it, but do you have like, what is your ultimate, like, what is the ultimate goal? Where do you want Kelaska to be in like 5-10 years?
It's so funny because if you had asked me that, let's say when I was 19, right? I would have been like, I want to be like Katy Perry. I want to be like famous, 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 and like, that level of like a pop star or something, right? Then, like, around the time I started YouTube, I was like, well, maybe I wouldn't want that, but it was still kind of there a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But now I would hate that. I would I would rather, I don't even know. I would just like not do well with that lifestyle, and I would not, there's so many things, like as we've discussed, there's just a lot of things I just don't have the energy for at this point in time. So I feel like in a beautifully like perfect world, I would love to make enough money so that way like I wasn't struggling, and I don't need like a ton of money, just like enough where like, hey, if I want to get Starbucks every day,
Mm-hmm.
let's do that. And then maybe just like do some tours. I really want to do tours, but I just can't get out there.
So
I
do
keep
you,
putting
how
off
does
gigs.
making money look for what, like, for what you do right now? Like, do you get paid in like Spotify and all those other?
Yeah, I kind of right now, it's through a bunch of different things like Twitch and YouTube and all of like Spotify and all that for my originals. Then I get paid like on a different thing for my covers, and then um, it's really like spread out into all these different things, which it's really hard during tax season because I'm like,
Oh, I'm
oh my
sure.
God, like where do I need to get
When
all
I
these things from?
when I became a full-time streamer, it was the first time I've ever used an accountant in my entire life.
Do you recommend?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise,
I
it's
can
so
even give you a
confusing.
name of someone if you want. My accountant is
Okay.
great. She's actually a Twitch streamer who is part of the
Hello?
community, and she's great.
That's amazing.
Wow. Yes,
you follow her?
please. Please, please, please. No, I don't know who he's talking about.
So, but yeah,
I need
it,
that information.
it was the best. Like, I might
Yeah.
not use her again this year. If you're listening, I'm sorry. I might not use you. But that's only because I'm not really streaming anymore. I don't really have like like our tax burden has went from like complexity went from like this to like this.
Yes.
Yeah, it gets so confusing too because like on Twitch there's like Twitch stuff, but then there's also donations and stuff, and that's like a whole it's a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
And
yeah.
I did so much networking that I had to like count out cuz when you're a full-time streamer, every sub you give to somebody is like, that's a networking. That's considered networking. And
Yeah.
in one, I don't even want to, you guys, I can't even describe to you how much I paid in networking in 2020.
Oh, I'm sure.
I believe
When
it.
I was trying to like really grow, I spent so much in networking. It took me hours to go through every gift sub and sub that I had done.
That's awesome though, because I feel like networking is such a underrated thing that you have to do to grow. Like even there's people that are like saying you should go on Instagram every day and you should find people like in your section and you're like, let's say music or something,
Yeah.
and then, find people that you actually, don't just go on random things and say whatever, but like find people that something spoke to you that they posted and leave a
Mhm.
nice comment, and then,
Yeah.
Yes.
and that's something that is like seems so little, like, oh, 5 people a day, that seems, but for some reason it adds
It really
up, and
helps.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't do it, but I should.
Same.
Networking is hard. Networking is
It's
actually
so hard.
It's
harder
like a
and more
job.
exhausting than the actual
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
Like even just trying to grow on TikTok, like it's not just posting. You have to go on other people's and comment on
Yes.
theirs and stitch theirs and do
Oh, yeah.
duets on theirs, which hopefully means they
Yes.
will follow you after. Like there's just so freaking much.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
like
And
trying
then,
to remember it all and keep it. Oh,
yes. Then it adds up too, where it's just, if you're not a person who's crazy extroverted, it gets to be a lot because you have just so many people messaging you. And I don't mean that in like in a humble way. Like, obviously, we all
no,
deal
it's
with it, but you have like people from Twitch like messaging you, or you have like Instagram messages, then you have like your real friends messaging you, and
Mhm.
it gets, again, if you're not an extrovert, it
yeah.
starts to feel overwhelming because and I
So
struggle from that.
so I heard um I heard someone else describe it when it comes to introverts, especially when it comes to business and networking. It's you basically, every introvert has an internal bank, and every person, every interaction uses a coin in that bank, and everyone's bank has different amounts, but you get to a point where your bank is empty, and the second your bank is empty, you shut down.
Yes.
It's off.
1,000%.
And that is definitely one of the hardest parts. And what's crazy is most streamers, most people are not extroverts. Being a full extrovert is probably one of the most rare things out
Yes.
there. Most streamers are not extroverts. It's an
Oh, wow.
act. It's an
Yes.
act.
Oh,
It's an
yeah.
act for me,
Yeah.
because
I
the
think
second
too-
the act is done, I like flop back in the chair, close my eyes, and just
Yes.
breathe for like 10
Yes.
minutes,
I'm
because
like, nobody
I've been
talks to
thinking
me.
about I've been thinking about this cornbread for the last 2 hours because of that.
Oh my God, that's gonna be such a treat. Waiting to
We
eat
go,
that.
I
That's gonna
did
be
it.
like the best night.
It
It's
is
funny
my
too.
fellow introvert.
What's interesting about streaming is that yes, there are people there chatting with you, but really it's just you talking, sometimes
Yes.
for hours. And
Yes.
you don't realize until you shut the mic off and everything, you're like, wow, it's quiet in here. Like, it's so weird to not hear myself talk. It's
Yes.
just nice.
yeah.
That's
Well,
the
and
best
I don't
part.
know about you guys, but I'm what's called an extroverted introvert, which
Mhm.
An
means
ambivert.
when I'm
Oh,
around
fancy.
people that I'm friends with, I almost seem like an extrovert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do.
And I can force myself to be an extrovert. Like I like emceed a concert once. And like the
Mhm.
idea of me talking, like being out there and talking in front of hundreds of people. This was like 500 people or 1,000 people. I don't remember how many it was. But
Wow.
like up on stage talking to them, being totally extroverted, I literally was not myself. I had to go into acting mode and become a different
Yes.
person just to be able to stand up there. I can do
have to
that.
trick
It's
your
the same
brain.
thing with singing. When I sang and I knew that there were like 500, like I'd get a massive raid, and I'd know there was one time I got like 1,000-person raid. It was some ridiculous number. And it's like the idea of 1,000 people watching me. And I was like, you have to literally,
Yeah, you have to
all
turn it
at
off.
once too. That's the strange part too, is it's all at once. Like, you're just all of a sudden over here, like, I don't know, we're chatting about bread, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I have to be on. Like it's a lot. Like it'd be
Yeah.
one thing if you were prepared, like you knew,
Yes,
okay, at
exactly.
7, these people will be here,
Yep.
but you're just not expecting it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and I mean, again, I don't know how. I mean, you sort of know how it was, partially because I rated you. There were some days where my record for raids is 16 in one stream.
Mhm.
So cool though.
16 raids.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. But I knew
That's
what
a
I
lot.
was doing when I raided. I don't know how you thought it was when I came in with like the 50, 80, 70 person raids that I probably jumped in with you on. But
Yeah.
I know other people, I would freak them out. I'd come in with like a 50 person raid and they'd be like, wouldn't even know how to
Why'd you do
handle it.
this? Yeah. Yeah.
I know. I think I struggle with. I really, really love to read every single thing in the chat. It's killing me right now not being able to like read the chat in this. And I like will like scroll all the way up to see everything I missed, and then I'm like reading here, but everybody is writing like down here,
Oh
and
yeah.
by the
Yeah, you
time I
can't catch
get
up.
yeah, and then I'm like, but then I like ask them something up
Yep.
here, but then by the time they answered, I'm like, what did I say? What are we?
Yep.
What are you talking about?
Yep. Oh, I
That's
know. And
tough.
I mean, I went through it. And part of it
Yeah.
is you have to learn not to do it just because the trolls will come in and make you say
Yes.
things. And the second you say something that
Oh, yeah.
you realize you shouldn't have said is when you realize that you have to like you learn to speed read and like you learn
Yeah.
to skim in a way that you
Yes.
never knew how to skim before.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I luckily like my mod Carlos, he is so good at usually like catching the thing like immediately. I'm like, oh, thank God for you, because I don't even know what they said. Now I will never know.
That
I
is
have to go through that today.
that is when mods are great. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because like I've actually become mods of some streamers because they got trolled and I'm like, just give me mod for 1 second. And I like fixed it in like a second because I've dealt with it multiple
I think that's how you
times.
became my mod originally.
Probably. I've
Yeah.
become a
Awesome,
few
though.
people's mods because they got like a massive like troll like bot raid thing going on and
Yes.
they didn't know what to do and they were freaking out. I'm like,
Yeah.
just make me mod for 1 sec. And usually I just go, just make me it for this and I will fix the problem. And then they're like, can I just leave you? And I'm like, fine,
Yeah.
fine, whatever. That's
Great.
fine. I don't care.
Here's another one.
Yeah, because sometimes you don't know right away that it is trolling. You know,
Yeah.
like sometimes you're just like reading it, like, what are you saying? Or like, maybe this is
Mhm.
legit.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. You don't
Well,
want to
yeah,
be
and
mean
it's
right
just
away.
you realize there are certain words that you just can never say ever again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's so sad that this word that is just a common word, like if you see it in chat 99% of the time it's a troll trying to get you to say something that you shouldn't be saying, and it's just like that's really the world we've gotten into.
Wow. I don't even know what you're talking about.
I don't either,
I'm
and
happy about
I
it.
need to know now
Yes.
afterwards.
You have to tell
Yeah,
us.
I'll tell you
Before-
afterwards. I'm not gonna say it on stream.
Why not?
I'm dying to know.
Okay, well, okay, so I have one question and then we'll see if Rosie's got any more, and then we will go and we will
Talk to chat.
talk to chat. But
Okay.
so
I'll eat my cornbread at the same time.
there you go.
Yes, do
So
it.
as a person who, you know, has been writing music, and I guess both of you can do it. The only reason I wouldn't say anything is I'm not in music the way you guys are, at least not at the moment. So if someone was listening to this that is like, I've always wanted to take the jump into being a full-time streamer, what would you like, what would be your advice to that person? What if you could give a piece of advice that helped you in your journey, what would that be?
It's a good question.
You didn't read the questions before you got here, did you? I even gave you access so you could know exactly the questions that were coming and prepare answers.
This is the best way.
This is me acting.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
No, I actually did forget about that question. But do you want to go first, Rosie?
Sure. I mean, for
Okay.
me, it would be don't take everything so personally. And I know that we're our worst critics, but know that you're not going to be perfect, and that's okay. I wish somebody told me that like 15 years ago, and
Yeah.
I think I would have been in a much happier place, and I think I would have gotten where I was much sooner because I wouldn't be second guessing myself. And the other
Yeah.
one is it's okay to fail. It's okay to make mistakes and practice, practice, practice. That's number 3.
I
think
love them.
I
Those are
think that's it.
perfect.
Yeah.
Was the question streaming or in the music industry?
Music industry. But you can do streaming too if you want. I mean, there are people that are almost everyone's a streamer now, I feel like. So
I think that we've kind of touched on like the things that I feel like have worked for me in the past is definitely consistency. I think
Mm.
that's like one of the like almost piggybacking off of what you were saying. You can't worry about perfection. You just gotta get something out there. And like it is like a half and half because it should be something you're proud of. It should be something that you're as authentic. You don't want to be just like trying to do whatever, but at the same time, you can't be too much of a perfectionist. You just got to do it. You can't, like, I
Yeah.
didn't wait until I was good at guitar. And if I did, I still would not be ever
Yeah.
have put a song on YouTube. I was so bad in the first billions of videos on YouTube.
But were you?
And
Were you?
yes. Oh my
I
God.
kind of want to
That's
go find old school
If
Kelaska
you
right
will
now.
notice, just as a quick little disclaimer, in the first videos, again, I was getting so many comments, or messages, or a lot of them were people in my real life too that were trying to be helpful, but they were giving me a lot of critiques on like what I should be doing in this YouTube video. So
Yeah.
if you'll watch, like, especially the beginning ones, like, I'm very dressed up because that was like a critique that I got a lot. And then also it was like, you should be focused straight on the camera, which is
Yeah.
like, if I feel like I could have maybe done that a little more natural later in life on YouTube. But in the beginning, it was hard to focus on that and the lyrics and singing and playing because I
Yeah, it's
would
a
want to,
lot.
I'd want to look at my hands and I couldn't. And so I look very, very stiff because this is also probably any of those are from hour like 7 and on. And so
Mhm.
I've already failed 30,000 times and I'm just like so stiffly staring dead in the camera. My jaw is barely moving because I'm like, please get through this song. Like it's bad. But again, like if I had waited, then I wouldn't be here. Like
Yeah.
you just gotta do it and you just gotta try to do it as much as you can. Is my
I love
advice.
that.
Rosie, you got any questions?
Oh yeah, my question was, do you have any like pre-rituals like before you go to record?
Ooh, that is a good question. I'm so what a theme of my life. I'm just when I first started recording stuff for like professionally the singles, I was doing it remotely because my producer lived in Nashville at the time, and so I would have to do the vocals on my end, and then rather than send him like 30 takes, I would have to like comp my own vocals, which is like putting certain lines together, like, oh, maybe I sang this line better on this take and this line on this take or whatever. And I would be so just I would be there again for like 8 hours trying to like, oh, well, this like little note, this and this word is off or whatever. And so one of my rituals for sure in the beginning was I would always pour like a throat coat tea.
Ooh,
I
yes.
love those. I hate how they taste. They taste
Oh
like
yeah,
licorice.
they're
Not a
awful,
fan.
but they're
The
so good for you.
Yes, the lemon one, I thought that was gonna be better. It was not. So, but yeah, that and like honey was my ritual. And then then I started to get like a little bit uh loose with it. And I'd be like, okay, instead, I'm gonna like psych myself up to do this by getting like a chai from Starbucks. I motivate myself with food and drinks a lot.
So you are food motivated.
Yeah, a lot of like my rituals would be that. I never, sadly, I don't know if you'll hate this but I never warm up before I sing,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
I
Same.
okay, good. Some people are like, "What? Like I just committed murder?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I know I'm probably gonna ruin my voice, but
Yeah,
it I
once you
can't
hit
do
my
it."
age, if you don't warm up, you literally will die.
Wow.
Really?
One of my
Yeah.
music teachers taught me what I don't know, with belting, just warming up by talking is good enough.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I
I don't know
love
Yeah,
anything
I
about
mean, if,
yeah.
if
I
as
love
long as
that
you're
teacher.
as long
Yeah.
as you're talking pretty consistently,
Yes.
yes. The problem is and this is so I was in choir in college. So it's not so just doing stuff will warm you up, but it's what you do after you do the warm up, whether it's warming up,
Ah,
talking,
yes.
whatever you do. So he'd be like, we'd do a warm up and they'd be like, all right, you got like an hour before we perform. Do not lay down for any reason, because
Mm-hmm.
something
Yeah.
about laying down changes where the blood flows, and it actually like ruins everything you did with warming up. And like, so
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, me
I
neither.
didn't know it either, but this guy was like, a big
Yeah.
time vocal professor in college, so I would assume he somewhat
Oh,
knows
yeah.
what he's talking about.
Once upon a time, I did try very hard. Like there, when I first started on YouTube, like the Voice in American Idol contacted me a couple times to be like, "Hey, come do like this private audition for us," and
Jeez.
I would be
That's so
like,
cool.
That's
and
so awesome. That
that's like a
like even if I didn't
that's like
make
my
it,
whole.
like to someone, okay, anybody, if anybody on The Voice or American Idol just wants to contact me, like I'll go on. I know I'll lose, but I'll just be happy to be invited. Like that's one of those things where I'd just be happy to be invited. If anyone wants to invite me to something like that, I'm down. I'm
Oh, yeah.
seriously down.
They were processes to say the least. But what I was gonna say that when I was going to do those, that was in the very beginning of like my YouTube journey, and so I was very like, okay, I'm gonna go to this audition, and I can't have dairy, and I'm not gonna have this, and I'm just like, I had
Yes.
so many rituals of like things that I could not eat or do like that day. And
Yeah.
that didn't last very long. They lasted like maybe 2 auditions, and I was like, I can't
That's
live
enough.
like this. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna whatever.
I had to,
So
like when I
funny.
was doing Twitch things a lot, I had to warm up
Mm-hmm.
because I knew the songs that people would ask me to sing. And
Oh,
if I
yeah.
didn't warm up,
Yeah.
like Dream
like
on a
Dream
River
On.
would literally have destroyed
Yeah.
my voice.
Well,
Yes.
those are very belty, high songs.
Every
Yeah.
song I do is belty. I just belt. Like I've been working on my lower stuff. Like I actually put one out. I was doing a TikTok with someone. They were doing Titanium, and it was like they were doing it in a very like light way, and I had to like work to get my tone to go light because I just
Mm.
belt. That's just what I
Yeah.
Yeah.
do.
That's
I
where it sits.
I found the same problem like when so isn't it interesting that if you kind of look at like 90s 2000s ish pop, the like main people like the good voices were like Christina Aguilera and Beyonce, like belters, right? Like it was
Mhm.
so popular to try to be a belter. Kelly Clarkson comes in the scene, like just
Oh
all
my
of them like
gosh,
that.
she's like the queen of belt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and nowadays, like, there's this switch where everybody wants to be like Billie Eilish and basically
Yes.
whisper.
Yes.
And there was a turning point where I was like, maybe like I should try to like not necessarily sing like Billie Eilish like whispery, but like just a little softer, like maybe I'll be too ostracized if I'm over here belting. And when I would try to do the softer, yeah, like it's hard because
You
like
have
if
to
that's what
change
you
where you sing
know,
from
Yes.
completely.
The
yeah.
placement is so different.
And the breath control is so different.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people would be like, that should be easier. And it's like, no, if you've been singing your whole life loud and belting, it's
So much
such a
harder.
change. Yeah.
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 I want to get good at it.
Yeah.
I want to learn to do runs too. Like I can't do it the
Oh, yeah.
like
Those
I can't.
riffs.
I sound weird when I
Those
do
are
it,
too hard.
but I
Yeah.
want to
Like,
so bad because it sounds so amazing when someone can do it, and I just want
yeah.
to, but I
I
don't.
feel like all it is two things. Is one is no, which I'm not great at doing them either, but I feel like it's knowing like where to go, like your
Mhm.
music theory of breaking down the note,
Yeah.
and then again like doing it so slow
Yes.
until I think like things click with music theory for sure of like
Well,
knowing
yeah.
like,
and
oh, this is,
actually,
you know?
I actually watched. I watched someone like a music teacher go through how she learned, like how she was learning a run for a song, and literally it was she just sat there and went like she actually would sing the notes just like that, and then just kind of gradually speed it up until
Yes.
it was a
Yeah.
and it's just like,
Isn't
but
it
it never
amazing?
sounds good when I do it.
That's probably, it's so hard. It really is. Like you look at somebody like Tori Kelly, who's just like doing like riffs
Yeah, you see people
constantly, and you're like, what in the
and it's like,
world?
Yes. It just comes so
How?
naturally to some people. It's amazing.
mm,
Yeah. I think when you have like, it's all about the pitch. It's all about like
Mhm.
having like perfect pitches. You're gliding through those notes, which is so hard to
Oh,
do.
yeah.
my problem is like I can sing lead. I've sung lead in lots of things. But most people like the fact that you can pick any note, and a quarter second after I hear it, I will sing the harmony to it.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah. That's hard
impressive.
to do.
Yes.
Which is crazy because that's like the easiest thing in the world for me to do. Everyone's like, I can't do harmony. I'm like, what are you talking about? Just sing a note. It's like, I
Yeah. I always second guess myself on harmony. I
Yeah,
didn't
me
really
too.
notice it was a thing until maybe a couple years ago. And then I was now like notice it and I've been practicing and obviously I'm a lot better than I was, but like still I get very like, oh, is this it? And then like I think that hesitation throws
yeah.
me off. And then I'm like,
Mhm.
no, I can't do it.
So I got
Mhm.
really good at it. So when I was in like college age, I was in choir at my church, and I had two guys in there that had good voices, but could not they couldn't like they they had no like they had no pitch. Like they didn't know, they could copy, but like if you said, okay, this is your first note, and then you look at the notes and you know how to go up, half down, go like all that stuff, they couldn't do it. So what happened is they each sat on each side of me and would listen to what I was singing and copy what I was singing, which meant if I was wrong, three people were wrong. So I got really good.
Yeah.
Really. And the fact is, you know, while I can read notes in like a score, I don't like, you can't point a note and I'll just go, like I go based on everything else. Like I still like, because tenors are almost always harmony.
Mhm.
I almost always just think the harmony. And that's just how I think with everything now. Like I just go harmony. And it's because, let's be fair, when I was growing up in college, especially, like most people just don't know how to sing harmony. Like you don't realize when you can how few people actually know how to sing harmony until you
Oh,
go
yeah.
somewhere and you start singing harmony and you get five people that all turn their heads and look at you like you like did something amazing. And just
Yeah.
because harmony brings up everything, brings up a song so much
Oh, it does.
Oh, for sure.
that like you don't realize that you're a friggin' unicorn.
Yeah. And sometimes too, which is that's so great that you can do it. Like you'll be like, okay, this is definitely the harmony. But then when you hear it with the melody and you're trying to do it at the same time, sometimes you'll like, at least I will, I'll get like pulled down into like singing the melody, like it'll throw me off of the
Mhm.
harmony. Like I can do it separate, but you add it and I'm like, oh my God, it's like too close.
But sometimes, but to be fair, sometimes the harmony, like there is a harmony to the note, but in the song, you actually shouldn't sing the harmony. And that's one of the things you learn from doing it. There will be times where I'll be singing and I'll get to a point and it's like, I just know that I need to drop down and sing the melody for this note before I jump back
Yeah.
up. And it's
Yeah.
just crazy. I just
It's just like a
never
natural
realized
born
how
thing that you have.
It's
how
hard.
much how weird that is that I can sing harmony like I can.
I wanted to ask too, Rosie, do you have any rituals?
Yeah, I used to have a lot. I had weird ones, like OCD ones, where I would have to take a
Broadway
water bottle.
strikes me as like the equivalent of like the NFL, where everyone's got these weird
Weird. Super
weird
weird.
things that if you don't do them, someone's gonna
Yes.
break a leg on
Yes.
stage.
Or the show will end
Yeah.
awfully. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have to take a water bottle right before I went on stage, and I'd have to turn it 3 times. That was
Oh
one.
my
I don't know
God.
why. I got that in my head that I had to do that every
You know
time.
what, though? I can so see that being a thing. Like once you start, you're just
Yes.
like,
Oh,
this
well,
is it now. This is the rest
The
of my
show's
life.
gonna end if I don't do it.
Yeah,
that's friggin' hilarious.
But yeah, throat coat. I love throat coat.
Oh, I use
That's
throat
Oh.
coat in Twitch Sings.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
It's a lifesaver because
It
it
really
really
is.
does coat your throat. It's
Yep.
true.
And I was a
I
big
mean,
like dairy person. Like
yeah.
you're not supposed to have dairy. I was like, oh, give me all the dairy. It literally coated my throat.
Ugh. Do you still eat dairy or
Oh yeah.
did you? Okay. I was like, give me your secrets if you've cut it out because I can't.
Oh,
Oh no.
no.
Ugh, it's just the best.
All right. So this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna do the ending thing, and then we can
Okay.
talk to chat. I just figure we've just been going, and we're just gonna keep going, so we might as well talk. But I'll do the
Yeah.
ending. I'll do the ending thing, and then we'll go and we can hang out with chat for however long we want, and then we'll end it.
Sounds good.
Kelaska, thank you so much for hanging out with us. This has been an awesome episode.
Yeah.
If you want to find Kelaska, she is on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, pretty much everywhere that you can possibly get music. A link to her link tree will be in the description below. Same thing goes for Rosie and myself. Just look in the description below if you want to find links to all of our social media, things like that. Next week, don't know what we're going to talk about. We still have to figure that out. We need to start planning these things a little bit earlier, but we will have something planned for you guys. We're getting close to Thanksgiving, so we'll probably do something. Probably do something about being thankful. I don't know. We'll
That's a good
figure
idea.
we'll figure it out. But again, thank you for hanging out with us. This was
Thank you for
this was a
having me.
great time.
I've loved it.
And when you're a superstar, we'll definitely have you back, or before. You never know.
We'll see.
All right.
I will definitely come back.
All right. Sounds good.